finance solution. So I'm a mortgage broker and we have 48 lenders on our panel. And someone said to me at one of these meetings not so long ago, well, who cares how many lenders you've got? You know, why would you need 48? That's a lot. But it really matters if you only qualify with one of those lenders. So it's very important that you use a broker that does have a really large panel, because it means that if you don't qualify with one, we might have another option for you. So back to that last slide. So I started my business in 2004 and it was basically on a very shoestring budget. There's a photo of me. I organised these presentation folders, a uniform, a name badge, and there was no Facebook or social media back then. You pounded the street. So I went and introduced myself to every real estate agent, conveyancer, solicitor, accountant, financial planner in Port Stephens, gave them my information and put it into a hanging file so they wouldn't throw it out. I thought they're more likely to stick it in their drawer that way. And then my son and my parents, my son's best friend, went and did letterbox drops for me. I think Blake was about 7 at the time. And basically we all pounded the streets and I just really tried very hard to get my name out and about. My very first referral was from a guy that worked at the Greater Building Society, and he'd had a client come to him who he couldn't help, and he referred her to me because I'd been into them as well and dropped my little hanging file in there. And I went and saw that lady. It was an hour drive from my place. Went and saw her, and she was going through a very messy divorce. She'd already had 2 brokers come out and see her, and they couldn't help her. And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to help her? Very first deal I've ever done. And I did. I just workshopped that deal with my entire panel of lenders, found her a lender that would do that deal, and of course that cemented my reputation for her and all of her friends, and that's when the word of mouth sort of followed on. So that was how I got started, and 18 years later I'm still here. We've had a very rocky time a few times in that period. So the global financial crisis, I had quite a large team when that happened, and a lot of those brokers had to go and work in other industries and find other jobs because the banks just weren't lending, and it was really tough in our industry then. We hung in there. I ended up with a smaller team, and I've kept a smaller team because I find a smaller team a lot easier, and it also keeps it very boutique-ish and, you know, a lot more personalised service. So this is my team now. So there's myself, and I have another mortgage broker, Jess, that works with me. We work on all of our files together. So we workshop deals and make sure that we're presenting the absolute best application that we can to give our clients the best chance of an approval. We've got Roy. Roy's our first overseas employee. I've always been a little bit opposed to offshore and believed in employing in Australia, but with the shortage of employees, I've employed offshore about a year ago, and he's absolutely amazing. So he does all of our loan processing, packages up the deals and gets them ready to send to the lender. Hayley's only joined us fairly recently, so she follows the loan from when it's lodged through to settlement, so that way the clients and the real estate agents and the buyer's agents all know exactly where that deal's up to at any point in time. And then we've got Nicole. She works 3 days a week doing whatever we needed to do, client liaison, booking Campbell and I into meetings, whatever we need done, Nicole's there to help. And then Lisa's worked for me for 12 years now, so she works from home in the Hunter Valley, just doing back office stuff. Amazing employee. Okay, next slide, thank you. So what I thought I'd do is just give you a couple of tips. So the first one is make sure if you've got a home loan that you're doing an annual review. Now we do that automatically for our clients at least once a year. But if any of you in the room have got a home loan that's more than 2 years old, it's a very good chance that that home loan is not competitive anymore, because the banks will put you on their most competitive product at the time of the settlement, but then they bring out new products to introduce, bring in new business, but that's not necessarily the best product available. So it's worthwhile making a phone call to the bank and just checking what they've got for new clients, and then seeing if that's competitive with what you've got. So we do that automatically for our clients. Happy to do it for any of you as well. So just email me your latest statement, your interest rate, and roughly how much you think your home's worth, and I can do a comparison for you, and there's no charge for that. So you may as well take me up on that offer. Very happy to do it for anyone in the group. Now, loans for self-employed, because everyone in the room is self-employed, I thought I would just explain to you the different ways that you can get a home loan. So the first one is what we call the full documentation loan. So if you've been employed for 2 full financial years and you've got 2 full years of tax returns and information, that's called a full documentation loan. The banks will work off whatever income is showing on those documents. The second way is a new method that about 4 or 5 of my lenders are using now, and it's called the Simplified verification method. That's where if you're paying yourself a wage from your business account to your personal account for at least 6 months, and you've been self-employed for at least 2 years, we can work off that wage rather than the tax returns. So that's really handy for some business owners. We've done a few of those now. Then the last way is a low documentation loan. That's where your accountant writes a declaration to confirm what your income is, and then you prove that through your bank statements or your BAS. Now, if we've seen your full documentation and that doesn't match that, we can't do a low documentation loan. So it's important that if you think that there's something in there that you don't want the bank to see, maybe you've got some losses that you're carrying over, or there's a reason that you want a low documentation loan, don't provide those to us or to your bank or broker. Okay, so did we miss a slide?
Missed one, yeah, sorry.
Okay, auctions. So you've all seen this morning Campbell do an auction for a client. A lot of people won't buy at auction because at the moment the banks will not give a formal approval for an auction. So if you want to buy at auction, you can. You just need to make sure that you've got what's called a fully assessed pre-approval. Now, some loans are not fully assessed before you've found a property and have a contract with a price in your name. So it's really, really important that if you want to go to auction, you need to use a lender, or we need to use a lender for you, that does a complete full assessment on your loan prior to going to auction. And that way you've got peace of mind that there's nothing in your application that the bank's not going to like once you've found a property and you've put your 10% deposit down at auction. We also get an upfront valuation on the property, and we can do that for any of your clients, Gavin or Campbell, that want to get a bank valuation done before to make sure that that property is suitable security. And sometimes there's a little reason why a bank may not like a property. So I just tried to get finance for a lovely lady, and there's a problem with her property through council. No bank will touch that property until that's been sorted. Another one recently where there was a overhead great big power line, the bank would only lend 80%. So if you don't know these things and you go to auction, put down your 10% because you've got the pre-approval, you've got a big problem on auction day. So it's very important to get the valuation and a fully assessed pre-approval up front. Okay, done that one. Next one. And the next one.
Oh, hang on.
I feel like that might be the last one, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any questions?
Perfect referral.
Oh, my perfect referral. So if you know any real estate agents, someone living with parents or renting, I'd love to give them a copy of my book about how to buy their own home. If you know any real estate agents, solicitors, conveyancers or accountants, they're my perfect referral partner. So if you can give my details or do an email introduction, that would be greatly appreciated. And as you know, I wrote a book for first home buyers recently. I've got plenty of copies of that. Happy to give them to you if you know anyone renting or living with parents. So thank you, everyone.
Okay.